Hello again. In this video I want to talk about another mistake that I've found in the Legacy Guide series of books, which are often the books that, unfortunately, a lot of Taekwondo students consider to be like the gospel and what they take as the only way to do Taekwondo, unfortunately. As I've mentioned before, the books contain some mistakes. They're good as a starting point or kind of a reference. If you already know what you're doing, you can use them as a reference. They can kind of point you in the right direction sometimes, but other times they point you in the wrong direction. And this is an example of one of those techniques. So if you look at move number 16 in pattern Po-Eun, so this is movement number 16 in pattern Po-Eun. They're doing a sitting stance and they're doing a low block and they're trying to do a back fist strike behind them. And I've noticed this is kind of a general theme all the way across. All the way across all the patterns. Anytime you see a technique in the book where they're trying to do a back fist strike directly behind them and they are in a front facing stance. So that means if you're standing with your feet together, facing forward, if you're standing parallel stance, facing forward, if you're in sitting stance, facing forward, doesn't matter. If you are in a front facing stance, you cannot ever do a back fist strike. You can't hit somebody behind you because the body doesn't bend that way. It's basic body mechanics. It's not something that you can train or practice or gain flexibility. The body does not bend that way, and that technique does not work the way that it's shown. That is a mistake in the book, and it is carried on throughout the years of a broken technique. What you are supposed to be doing at this point in pattern Po-Eun, and this movement also appears in other later patterns as well, but I think Po-Eun is the very first time that you see it because it's a combination block is what it actually is. This is the correct technique. So take a look at the similarity. Take a look at how people could misinterpret or get it wrong so you can understand how some people could do this. That is not what you are doing in this technique. Like I said, the body mechanics, the motion, everything about the technique, if you try to do it that way, is wrong. It will not work. Period. Ever. Doesn't matter if you're a white belt. Doesn't matter if you're a 9th degree black belt. Doesn't matter who you are. You could be the best in the world. That doesn't work. And you can't make it work. You can't make a broken technique work. Ever. No matter who you are. I don't care who you are. You can't make a broken technique work. This low block and middle block is what you should be doing in pattern Po-Eun for move number 16. And then it repeats later in the pattern because the pattern is mirrored. You do everything twice, except you're doing it on the other side. So this block will appear twice in pattern Po-Eun, just as this movement appears twice. But this is what it is. This is the proper technique. And it blows my mind that a lot of Taekwondo students have never seen this before in their life. This video now, they're seeing it for the very first time because, to my knowledge, that doesn't appear in any of the legacy books that I've been able to find. This block, as I'm showing right there, doesn't appear in their book, their official book. Take a good look at this. So this is what it is. You're protecting down low with a low block, and notice the low block is not in front, it is to the side. So you are in a side sitting stance. You're blocking off to the side, not in front of your body. Important distinction right there. And here, the fist is turned this way, not this way. You are not striking behind you. You are blocking using this, the inner forearm, as the blocking surface and blocking this way. Just as you would with a middle block in front of your body. This is the blocking surface. This is what you're blocking with. Here it's elevated, so it's kind of an upper middle section block. But that's what it is. That's what it is. And it's a combination block because you're doing two blocks at the same time. So two different blocks at the same time. Low block and middle block. And sitting stance. So front facing stance. That is the technique for pattern Po-Eun. And whenever the book calls for that low block and back fist strike, this is what you're supposed to be doing. That's the right technique. That's the real, genuine article technique. So you are protecting. You can think of it like you're protecting. Of course, if you're actually doing this inside of a pattern, you're going to be looking in the direction that you are moving. So if I'm moving this direction here, I've got my low block hand leading, and this hand is behind me. So I'm looking in the direction in which I'm moving. And that low block hand is the front hand or the lead hand. So if I'm going the other direction, then that'll be the low block hand, and the other one is up high behind to protect. So in other words, you're protecting in front of you, but you're also providing protection in case somebody is trying to get you from behind with a headshot, head level attack. So that's what it is. That's what it is. Low block and middle block in sitting stance. And it caught me by surprise today that that block doesn't appear in their official book anywhere. But that's what it is. That's the real technique. You know, you can keep doing broken technique. You can keep doing what the book says, and you can keep doing what 99.9% of junk Taekwondo schools do, the ones that give Taekwondo a bad name because they're just doing crap Taekwondo. Or you can be one of the few, one of the elite that gets the technique right and is actually doing the proper technique, not only doing something that is viable, but doing the correct and proper technique for the pattern. So there you go. So thanks for watching. Like I said, my videos don't get very many views, and it's unfortunate because I've been doing Taekwondo for 25 years now, and unfortunately, every time people are critical of Taekwondo and saying that Taekwondo doesn't work and the movements don't work, it's because they're criticizing the schools that are doing it by that book, instead of looking at the schools like mine that are actually doing the correct technique. So if you want to evaluate Taekwondo, evaluate it at its best by a school that's actually doing it correctly, as opposed to the McDojo level stuff that the majority of schools are doing, where they don't really care if they're doing it right. It's just collect a few bucks from some kids or whatever, gives the parents a 1 hour break from the kids for an hour. You teach them a bunch of crap and then you send them on their way. That's what most Taekwondo schools are. And that's why Taekwondo has gained a reputation over time of being a crap martial art in the community, because anybody who learns junk Taekwondo techniques and it's doing stuff the way the book is telling them, right away they get exposed. They get found out pretty quickly that their technique is crap, it doesn't work. And if you try doing it that way, you're going to end up losing badly. It's going to be a very painful lesson in the real world if you start doing junk Taekwondo when you actually need it and your life actually depends on it, as opposed to doing something properly. So I'll leave it at that. Till next time, thanks for watching.